Canada just flipped the rules on study permits in 2026, and if you don't know these changes, your application could be dead before an officer even reads your file. Now, students are getting refused for mistakes they didn't even realize were mistakes. From wrong schools, to weak financial proof, to agents secretly misrepresenting them. And the worst part, once you get refused, it sticks on your record. In this video, I'm going to break down the top 5 deadly mistakes international students are making in 2025 and 2026, and how to avoid them if you actually want to study in Canada. If you're thinking of studying in Canada in 2026, you need to stop right now, because the rules have changed and approvals have gotten tighter. The mistakes that students are making today are not the same mistakes they made last year. If you don't understand these new realities, your study permit could be refused in seconds. Now listen, this isn't fear-mongering. This is now the truth of how Canada is operating in 2025 and 2026. The government has put stricter systems in place. They are using artificial intelligence, enhanced background checks, and focusing on genuine students. Now, if you're applying on your own, or worse, through someone who doesn't even understand the new rules, you're risking thousands of dollars in tuition, years of your life, and your dream of building a future in Canada. So today, I'm going to expose the top 5 study permit mistakes in 2026 that are destroying applications. And more importantly, I'm going to explain exactly why they matter so much right now. Please stick with me until the end, because the last mistake is the one that even serious students are making, and it could kill your chances of ever stepping foot in Canada as a student. Let's dive in. Mistake number 1. Weak home ties under 2026 scrutiny. On 2026, IRCC is no longer looking at home ties the same way they did 5 years ago. The old idea that simply showing that you own a property or you have family back home is not enough. That's gone. Officers are trained to look deeper now. They want to see if your entire story makes sense. If your study plan looks like an excuse to stay in Canada permanently, and you haven't shown a logical reason for returning back home, you're almost guaranteed refusal. Now think about it. Officers are rejecting files that look like a permanent migration situation disguised as a study permit. Or if you apply for a 2-year diploma at a small college while you've already got a master's degree in your home country, and you're not explaining why this all makes sense in your situation, the IRCC will assume you're using education as a backdoor, because this has been the case for so many international students in the past. You'll easily get stamped with a refusal, and your refusal will usually state, "We are not satisfied," that you will leave Canada at the end of your authorized stay. Now that wording is deadly. Once you have that on your record, every future application becomes harder. Home ties are not about one document. They're about building a case. And that's where most people fail. And if you think that's bad, wait until you hear the financial proof mistake. Ignoring updated financial proof and cost of living, that's the second mistake. And it's underestimated. Cost of living requirements for students went up again. Before, it was enough if you showed just your tuition and a modest living allowance. Now, officers are trained to flag files where the bank balance looks staged, or the funds are just barely meeting the thresholds. Now listen, you have to prove that you can actually survive in Canada for your declared studies and for the duration of your entire studies. That means not just one bank statement, but a consistent history. People are borrowing money for a day, printing a statement, and then returning it. Those applications are being shredded, and the new AI systems can track patterns that can easily flag those types of applications. So what happens if you ignore this? Your permit gets refused. And in some cases, the refusal mentions misrepresentation, which is one of the most deadliest things you can hear in immigration, because if the funds look fabricated, that could bar you from Canada for 5 years. So here's the truth. In 2026, it's not enough to say, "I can pay tuition." You must prove you can handle rent in Vancouver, Toronto, or wherever you plan to live, food, transportation, insurance, at realistic Canadian prices. Officers know the cost of groceries, they know the rent prices. If your finances don't match reality, your file will collapse. And in a minute, I'm going to reveal the biggest hidden trap in 2026, a mistake that even genuine students are making without realizing it, and is costing them their study permit. Don't miss that. Now, the third mistake is choosing the wrong institution. In 2026, IRCC has been cracking down hard on what they know as visa mills. These are schools that care more about bringing international students than providing a real education. Now they're changing that much more. They know the game, they know all these institutions that were part of this type of scheme, and they're removing that from the picture. So here's what's new. Canada now maintains a closer watch list of institutions under review. Students applying to these schools face higher refusal rates, even if they technically qualify. Why? Because the government is trying to protect international students from being exploited, and because fraudulent applications often come from these institutions. If you think it's cheaper, I need an acceptance letter, no, think again. You might get the letter, but your study permit will get rejected. Worse, if the school later loses its DLI status, which is known as a designated learning institution, you can be forced to transfer or even leave Canada. This is one of the most heartbreaking mistakes we're seeing right now. Students spend thousands only to find out the school they picked is a red flag for officers. Now, if you don't know which institutions are safe, which institutions are a bit risky, you're technically gambling with your future. Now, this one shocks people, but trust me, nothing compares to the compliance checks that are crushing statement of purpose letters in 2026. That's coming up next, and you'll want to hear every word. So, submitting a weak SOP. That's the fourth mistake, and let me be brutally honest. In 2026, it's no longer a formality. The SOP is a test. Officers are using this to see if your study plan is logical, if it aligns with your educational past, your work experience, and what your future goals are. So if your SOP doesn't align with what you've done in the past, what you want to do in the future, then you have to realign your SOP with what makes sense. A weak SOP that states, I want to study in Canada because it has a great education system, is guaranteed refusal. That line has been written a million times. Officers don't want a generic SOP. They want clarity. They want logic. So that's why the new compliance twist in 2026 is that schools and immigration authorities are sharing more information. Now, if you say you're studying one field, but your background goals don't add up, IRCC will cross-check it, they'll flag it. Now, what's the consequence? Your file gets marked as not credible. And once your credibility is damaged, it's almost impossible to restore. A bad SOP can destroy your chances before an officer even looks at your documents. Now, this is a mistake that applicants keep making. They underestimate how powerful the SOP is in today's system. Alright, you made it this far, but here's the truth. The last mistake I'm about to share could literally ban you from Canada for 5 years. And most students don't even realize they're at risk. Stay with me, this is the one that matters the most. Finally, mistake number 5. And this one is the most dangerous of them all. Misrepresentation and relying on unlicensed consultant. In 2026, IRCC has doubled down on fraud detection. They're using AI to catch fake documents, false bank letters, patterns of language that look suspicious. If your application is found to contain false information, even if you didn't know your agent submitted it, you are guilty of misrepresentation. Now, what's the penalty of misrepresentation? A 5-year ban from entering Canada. That's not a slap on the wrist. That's the end of your dream, at least for half a decade. But here's the real tragedy. Many students don't even know they're being misrepresented. Now, they trust an agent, maybe back home, who is not licensed, who talks a certain way and guarantees approval, charges a cheap fee, and who fabricates documents, perhaps even behind their back. And by the time a student finds out, it's likely too late. Now, that's why IRCC keeps repeating, always work with a licensed consultant. Always verify who you are dealing with, because in 2026, the system is not forgiving anymore. If you make this mistake, you could lose everything. So let's recap. In 2026, the game has changed. Weak home ties will sink you. Weak finances will get you flagged. Picking the wrong school could destroy your chances. And submitting a weak SOP guarantees rejection. And misrepresentation, now that could ban you from Canada for 5 years. These aren't small mistakes. These are deal breakers. Now, the difference between success and failure is whether you understand the new rules and build your application properly. That's where we come in. At Real West Immigration, we specialize in protecting students from these exact mistakes. We know the 2026 rules. We know what officers are looking for, and we help build applications that stand out, that prove that you are a genuine student and maximize your chances of approval. So, if you are serious about studying in Canada, and if you don't want to risk your future, your money, your time, book a consultation with us today. The link is right below this video. Don't wait until it's too late. Every month, students come to us after a refusal, and by then, the damage is already done. Click the link, open the tab right now, and secure your consultation with Real West Immigration. My name is Jazz Dillon, a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. And if you found this video helpful, please subscribe to this channel, because we'll be covering every new update and every hidden rule that could affect your journey in 2026 and beyond. This is your future. Don't gamble it, protect it. I'll see you in the next video.